Alright, so do you enjoy a night sky like this? Well, I bet you do. Do you know that most cities don't get a pretty view like this? And it's because of their vast amount of lights that they have that they're wasting. So not only are they wasting lights and not being able to see this beautiful sight, but they're also, because of all the lights, they're impacting several species and causing several of them to go extinct. All these lights can also be dangerous to yourself, and they can also be very costly as well. So, due to the vast amount of light pollution present on the globe today, there are several negative effects, but there are also several solutions that people like you and me can take to minimize light pollution. So, let's first talk about the issue of light pollution and death. So, like I said, there are several consequences that you might not be aware of. Light pollution can cause the extinction of several animals. And one of the animals that we're going to look at today is turtles. So, turtles. Although there are several species affected by light pollution, we're just going to look at the turtles. So, there's been a recent study through the IDA, the International Dark Sky Association, that female turtles will not lay their eggs on bright beaches or beaches lit up with mercury vapor lights, and like I said, they prefer dark beaches. Since they prefer dark beaches, their hatchlings tend to be eaten by several predators, and also they are prone to site-specific hazards. So all those baby turtles who are fortunate enough not to be consumed by predators as a meal, they tend to die of other causes at their hatching site. So before light pollution became an issue, baby turtles used to rely on the reflection from the sun and the stars and the moon on the ocean water, to guide them back to the ocean. Whereas now, with all the pollution, the artificial lights inland, they tend to wander around aimlessly into the beaches, and most of them end up dying of dehydration, exhaustion, and if they get so far off track, some can die on the road. And just so you know how serious the problem is, hundreds of thousands of turtles die in Florida alone each year. So in the picture you can see several tracks of the turtles that just get lost on the beaches because they can't find their way to the ocean. So now let's look at how how light pollution affects your personal safety. I bet you always thought that having more lights around your yard was a good thing. But did you know that certain lights can cause a glare that will make your property more prone to being vandalized? Certain lights, a light like this, you can cause a giant glare, and you might not be able to see the person standing right in between the gate there. Can any of you see him?
No.
There is a man standing there. And because you cannot see him because of the glare. So, the glare of lights can also affect you when you're driving. There are several lights along the road that don't have the correct fixtures, and it can cause a major glare, and it can be very distracting and can be dangerous and even life-threatening because they are a distraction and they are not being a guidance tool anymore. So now let's look at the finances of things. When you drive, so there you can see the lights being on a road and how they glare and cause a distraction.
Did you take that?
So when you go into Seattle, you can see all these lights. So people waste lights all the time. Ever since I was a little girl, I always thought it was a waste of how many lights were still on in Seattle at night when they didn't need to be. Most people also have outdoor lighting, and you might not realize that your lights can be very wasteful. Without the right fixtures and coverings, you can release lots of light into the atmosphere, and so you're not fully eliminating ground, the light's mostly going up into the sky. And on an average, outdoor lighting can waste about $1.74 billion a year just because of light pollution.
Is that in the whole world, or a city, or one house?
Questions at the end, please.
I'm sorry.
Let's look at some solutions that will help protect wildlife and ourselves. Researchers through the International Dark Sky Association have found several solutions that can help eliminate and make light pollution not as big of a problem. The first solution is only to use the lights that you need. So when you go into a room, turn on a light, and you leave the room, turn it off, and you will not only not waste a lot of light, but you will also lower your bills for light as well. So also, outdoor lighting, a good solution is solar lights. Solar lights, you don't have to pay for the lighting, and the sun just charges it, and so you're not wasting as much electricity. Also, with the right types of fixtures, you can decrease the amount of wasted light and also diminish glare. And lastly, to minimize your chances of being vandalized, you can have motion sensors around your yard, and the motion sensors will most likely scare away vandals because of the sudden on of the light. So lastly, let's look at the effects of these solutions. In Alberta, Canada, the city switched to shielded lights along the road, and on an average, they saved $1.7 billion a year. Can you imagine how much the United States would save if they switched to shielded non-glare lights on the streets? Billions. Now imagine that you drove into Seattle, the big businesses turned off their lights, and how much would be saved on energy? Lastly, how many turtles and other species would be affected by this? So here's an image of, well, I can't see it all that well, of light pollution. Europe has the biggest amount, and then it goes to the east coast of the United States. So if we decrease the amount of light people use in the big cities, then a lot can be saved through all this. So here's some good lights. This light here, it releases lots of light out into the atmosphere, the little globe, and you can't really see anything in there. And then this light is solar powered, and it also has a shield, so you can't see, so it doesn't waste as much light either. And for outdoor lighting, solar lights are a good solution, and also covered lights are a perfect solution as well. So now I call you to action. Get yourself educated on the multiple effects light pollution has had. Do it for the turtles dying in Florida, or your own personal safety, or your own finances. But I challenge you to observe how often you use lights and how much you waste your lights. You can go home, look at your outdoor lighting, and see if you're wasting that light, and if you are, I challenge you to fix them. Lastly, you can also support the International Dark Sky Association in efforts to protect wildlife, cut energy expenses, and stop light pollution by donating or becoming a member at www.darksky.com. Our global thank you and so will all of these ecosystems and animals as well.